yes, Puerto Rico. My number 3, the bronze medal, if you will. What? Led Zeppelin? Why?
Coming in at number 3.
Okay.
Tiny back then.
Top of the box, back when that was a thing.
Not the 70s.
Not the 70s.
But back in an age before that was
Puerto Rico! Yes. Right, so on your turn, you will choose in player order, starting with the first player, or the governor, if you will. You will choose one of these actions to take, and when you take that action, and that is the action you perform, and everyone else will perform as well in player order. You will get a slight boost for choosing that option, and then once you've done your turn, it goes on to the next person, and they will choose one of the remaining actions to take, and again they will take that. They will perform that action, and so will everyone else in player order from that person, and so on and so on and so on until all the players have taken their turn, and then the first player token passes round, and the game continues from there. The game ends when either the victory point pool runs out, when the worker pool runs out, or when someone completes
all the buildings.
Completes their buildings at the top, not at the bottom, not their plantations, but their buildings up in the city, in this is the city of San Juan.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the island of Puerto Rico. Yeah, and a very, very short description. That's the game. The real thing, really, would be the actions and what they do. It's a big driving point of the game, where you take the right action at the right time, if you'll. And they do many different things. The mayor will allow you to take workers coming over to the colony, and you'll take them off the boat, and you'll place them into your factories or your plantations. And then, depending on the number of empty spaces still left on everyone's, that many workers will then be placed on the ship, ready for the next person who takes the mayor. Which can't happen that round, it can only happen on the next round afterwards. You get the craftsman, where goods are produced, and to produce a good you have to have a person in your plantation and in the corresponding factory. For instance, blue here is indigo. We have someone in the indigo plantation there and the indigo factory there. Brilliant, you can produce an indigo. However, if there was no person there, but there's a person in the indigo plantation and not in the factory, you can't produce indigo.
He eats the indigo.
Yes. You're producing the raw material for it, but you're not producing it in a way that can be shipped out.
I think this is the first game that's on one of our lists that we could say to somebody, there is a how to play on the YouTube channel.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Go and watch it. But continue, craftsman.
Yeah. The only thing that you can craft, that you can produce, only good you can produce without having a factory and somebody in the factory and the plantation, is corn. If you've got someone in the cornfields, brilliant. That's fine. They'll grow and harvest the corn, and that can be shipped out quite easily. Shipping out, Alec, you're saying, but how do we do that? I hear you cry.
But how do we do that?
I hear you cry. You take the captain action, and when you take the captain action, if you've produced and you have goods to send out, you can put them on these ships. Now each ship can only take one type of good.
Captains are very picky.
They are. They don't you can't mix corn and sugar because they might get into each other.
Sweet corn.
Exactly, that'd be a terrible idea. No one's ever going to come up with that.
It's like peanut butter chocolate. It was made by accident.
They can only take one type. So if you're the first person, if you've taken the captain action and and none of these boats are full and you've got a load of corn, well, you can choose which boat becomes the corn boat. And if no one else has corn, then that boat essentially becomes.
You've got a monopoly.
Yeah, you have a monopoly on the boat. If, however, you have, say, corn and sugar, and no one else has corn, but but everyone else has sugar as well, you can place your sugar down first, choosing a specific boat, and by the time it's gone round, if I put sugar down and Tom puts his sugar down, well, Ben might not have any room for his sugar, so he might have to dump his sugar into the sea. But there's still place for my corn.
Wastage is a problem now in the modern day, but in Puerto Rico, back in this time, people just
held the power.
Exactly, people just chuck shit away.
Yeah. If the boat gets filled up, you can't then fill up another boat with the same good.
Oh my God, you are really going for this, aren't you?
Well, I'm just being
good. God.
Succinct. I'm not succinct.
No, you are not being succinct.
No.
Keep going though.
Thank you.
You're all the way there.
You're being like the builder and creating a narrative.
Oh.
What's next, Alec?
It's the builder. The builder allows you to spend money, which you will have hopefully got by selling your goods to the captains. No, you don't give money that way. You get VP that way, don't you? They give you victory points. But you get money, I'll say how in a second, once I've remembered how. Yes or no? You'll spend your money to buy buildings which can go up here in your city. Your buildings can be anything from plantations to warehouses, which allow you to store surplus goods, to more expensive buildings, which kind of key off other things. So, for instance, your big 10 cost buildings here, the residence gives you victory points based on how many plantations you've got overall.
Okay, yep, that's the builder. Let's keep going.
Cool. The trader allows you to sell one good to the trader. The trader will only take one type of any good.
He's related to the captain.
Yes. Before
we only do things in ones.
He's a Highlander. He's a Highland trader.
Sugar in my shop.
Until his shop is full, and then he'll get rid of it all and then
chuck it in the sea.
Probably something weird going on in Puerto Rico. Right, and
then you've got the settler, which allows you to build plantations. And you've also got the
prospector in a larger player game.
Yes, the prospector.
Just gives you money.
Yeah, actions that aren't taken on a round have one coin placed on them. So if they're taken in a later round, if the coins are built up and you take,
you get more for it.
Yeah.
It's the Puerto Rican welfare system. If no one speaks to you on a given day, the government will give you some money.
Exactly.
And then you chuck it in the sea.
The oceans around Puerto Rico are rich with bounty.
Yeah.
Are we there? Good Lord, right.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of Puerto Rico, Alec?
Oh, I hate it. Can't stand it. Get rid of it.
I was going to hit this down, but that would launch the beer upwards.
Can I just go and get the box for Isle of Skye and let that dictate what happens next?
Does anybody else just hear I love Skye?
I love Skye.
He loves lamb. He loves Skye.
No, I really enjoy it. It's taken the place of
Race for the Galaxy.
Race for the Galaxy. It has a lot of the same mechanics.
Which is funny because this is like dating a woman or a man, and then meeting their father or mother and being like, oh, the original. I'm going home with you, rather than the younger model. Which is a weird thing to say about Race for the Galaxy, because he's not so sprightly more, but his daddy Puerto Rico. I mean, this was #1 on BGG. I don't think it's ever been out of the top 20 on BGG.
Do you think so? One of the reasons behind why you like this so much, do you reckon it's because mechanically it's got that nice pattern thing going on, where you know that if I do this now followed by this, it will equal
an
this.
engine.
It'll
An
that
engine.
engine development that's not necessarily.
You build up your engine and you find the best way to try and exploit it.
Yes.
Either through essentially making other people do.
I was going to say
make
exploiting
tough
other
decisions.
people. Actually.
Yeah, because you make other people make those tough decisions.
Are you sure you want a craftsman?
Exactly. Yeah.
Are you sure you want a craftsman? You remember put those goods on the table? Okay,
yeah.
I'll captain.
Exactly. Yeah. Or okay. Well, there's a load of corn. There's corn and indigo ready to be taken. I know Tom is after corn or indigo, so he's probably likely to settle. Brilliant. That means I'm probably going to get this. I'm happy with that because then I can do this and this and this and this straight on.
It's like a series of puzzles, Puerto Rico, because you've got the ship puzzle, the loading the goods. How do I maximise the victory points that I will get from loading the goods? The action selection puzzle. Oh, well, not only what do I need, but what do I need to deny other people the bonus of? The colonist ship, right? When do I take that? The builder. When do I build such and such a building so that somebody else will play the mayor so that I can put people into my buildings to maximise both my production and my bonuses?
So that's one of the things that I don't like about the game. That I can be forced to make a choice that I don't want to make because it's clearly the wrong one. And I hate that in games where I'll have to choose a suboptimal move on my turn because it would be
too powerful
for the next player.
Or you pick it up and someone goes, "Oh, what are you doing?"
And I'm like, I need to trade, and it's like.
I like when I get in that situation, I like then trying to figure out how I get out of that situation, and then how I shift that responsibility onto somebody else.
More often times than not, though, there can be a lot of times in Puerto Rico where you have no choice.
Yeah,
you'll be stuck with I'll just have to build.
No, you will always have a choice.
No, but
you're never left.
But it'll be a choice that is utterly awful for you.
Yes.
And the other person, the other players at the table are benefiting from the fact that you got stuck in the bitch spot. You have to do this
because you didn't play as well.
Yeah, it is
ultimately that's what it comes down to. The only element of randomness in this game is the plantation draw, right? Yeah. That's it. Everything else is your decision. So there are points in like 2/3, maybe even a halfway through the game, where you look and you go, God, if I do that, someone's getting that. If I do that, someone's getting that. If I do that, someone's getting that. Why are they all such bad decisions? Well, you know what? You made them bad decisions because you didn't make your engine good enough, which is an quote unquote could be unfun, and that's for my thing. The biggest problem with Puerto Rico isn't that it puts you in those situations because I've just got to go, man, I've messed up. I should have played better there, or should have made a better decision. It's the teaching of Puerto Rico because everything is so reliant on everything else. It's not even like Race for the Galaxy where someone playing Explore at the wrong time is only going to benefit me so much. But in Puerto Rico, somebody playing not understanding a meta could be really difficult.
That's why this will never get near my top 10 because I don't believe that this is a friendly game.
No, it's not.
If you come into this and you want to start playing Puerto Rico with a bunch of people that already know how to play it, and you go to do a move, and they're like, well, actually, if you do this, it's going to happen to this, and this is going to happen, and you're like, well...
No,
but I genuinely think that while it's a good game, and it's mechanically quite sound, and it works nice, and the engine generation is cool, I genuinely think that it's a nasty game.
No,
to play because you can get stuck into. Because I've said this to you guys before. I've played Puerto Rico, and I'm not shit at Puerto Rico. I'm actually quite good. I think sometimes I've actually done quite well sometimes with corn or whatever, but things like that. But I've played it, and I'm not terrible. So I'm not just saying this from a point of view that I'm just like a bad player at Puerto Rico kind of thing. I genuinely believe that I've sat down to the table with playing Puerto Rico, and I've been like, I don't want to make a decision. Because I know it will piss everybody else off at the table, so what's the point? See, I'll just do something else.
I think that Puerto Rico is the board game equivalent of The Wire. Okay, The Wire doesn't give a shit for the casual viewer and for the person who wants a show to go previously on The Wire and all this nonsense. You watch The Wire and you appreciate The Wire, and if you can't pay attention and you want to text while you're watching it, then just don't watch The Wire. You aren't going to be able to appreciate how good it is. Puerto Rico is not going to hold your hand. It's not got a... I
don't think it's an accurate thing, because I appreciate what Puerto Rico is, but I still fundamentally think that it's just not the game that I would ever want to play.
It's not. You're not doing anything wrong by in the same way that somebody who doesn't want to watch The Wire dedicatedly. Someone says, look, when I watch TV, I watch TV to unwind. When I play board games, I play board games to unwind. That's not me most of the time, and not Alec most of the time. I like to play a board game for the challenge, for the engagement, for the competition, and Puerto Rico gives you that because you talk about games and the theme. You know, you are on this land. You are trying to exploit the heck out of here, and you know, we're settled in America or whatever, if you don't exploit it, well, somebody else is.
I mean, for me, like, this point goes back to something I said on my Carcassonne video that you and I disagreed on, whereas I feel that Carcassonne is that friendly kind of like, oh, where do you place that? Well, that's the best place to place it.
You'd never tell somebody in this game what's the best move to do.
This is my cold hard Euro side going through now. Like, no, I know what the best play here is. I'm not going to tell you. I'm actually going to force you into into taking moves that aren't going to be good for you. That are going to be good for me either now or slightly further down the line.
Carcassonne is like...
See, to me, that is far too cutthroat for me to ever want to play this game.
Yeah, which is weird for you to say, given that you do enjoy cutthroat games. So I wonder what it is about Euros...
No, I think it's specifically this game, because whenever I play it, I feel like I'm making the wrong choice. And even though, as I say, I'm not terrible at Puerto Rico, so it's not coming from a place of being boo-hoo, I keep losing all the time thing. I tend to end quite nicely in like a middle range of scores and stuff.
Counterpoint. You said a similar thing about El Grande.
Yeah, but I think
so this game is not unique.
But El Grande is slightly different because I think the choice of what you do from that list doesn't inherently affect other people at the table too much. I think in El Grande, what you pick from that selection and the choices that you make will optimally, in the end, help you a little bit more than this does.
But let's not talk about El Grande right now.
Just out of curiosity, though, because I feel like this Ben's personality is a relevant one. That is a relevant one. For instance, Ben, have you played Five Tribes?
Yes.
Right. For me, Five Tribes is exactly the same thing. Where
and the first time I played it, I enjoyed it, but I don't particularly want to play it again.
So your issue is not with Puerto Rico. You don't like heavy Euros.
Well, probably not. No.
Although, no, but you're a fine Puerto Rico. There's nothing wrong with you or you.
You're a Europhile.
You don't like this genre.
However,
you don't like this genre.
But I think to a certain degree, Isle of Skye has a little bit of that cutthroaty nature in it, in what you put the money up for. And I've played Isle of Skye now three times now, and I've been quite happy with playing that game, and I quite enjoy it. And I don't feel like I've been like, I'm doing something wrong
I
here,
think that Isle of Skye is in the same category as Castles of Burgundy, where it's this in-between for you. It's not Carcassonne Cuddles, and it's not Puerto Rico's cold, hard matron, okay? It's the in-between. And that's why you're okay with it.
Yeah, probably.
So, I'm not criticising you, but likewise, I'm not criticising Puerto Rico. But people who would watch these videos and have sympathised with you, well, they will probably know that this isn't for them.
Yeah.
Whereas people who've agreed with, who've sympathised with our views, will probably find this is where Claire would be a really interesting counterpoint, because she isn't as cold-heartedly competitive as we are, but I feel like she enjoys these sort of games a bit more.
Yeah.
You know, Nicola, for instance, enjoys these cold cutthroat Euros more.
I'd still play El Grande and I'd still play Five Tribes.
And you'd still play Puerto Rico.
Well,
no, but
if there are like four people sitting down to play a game and they were going to play a Euro, I'd rather play any other Euro than this one probably. I'd rather play Isle of Skye, or I'd rather play...
I hope so. You did just say that you liked it.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So from my point of view, that's a bad point on the game that keeps it out of my top 10. But it's what enforces its and entrenches its position within your top 10.
Definitely my top 10.
Because
it's my top 20.
Yeah, because of how mechanically...
9.5.
Thinky and mathsy and sort of plotting ahead it is and things like that.
I think if we'd have got Puerto Rico at the same time in our collection that we got Race for the Galaxy, this could be my Race for the Galaxy. But because we got Puerto Rico many a year after our collection was more than established, I think it's still very impressive that we've played it 15 times. But its problem now is that because you won't play it, and Nicola is aware of the fact that she's behind on the number of plays, and so doesn't like to play a game that she feels like she's that considerably behind. I think Puerto Rico plays best with about 4 or 5.
See, I won that game.
Yeah, well, but the question isn't about your ability. That's not what it relates to. It's not like you're sitting there winning El Grande and it's like... Anyway, so the pool of people to play it with has diminished so much that I find it quite hard for this to be as high. Whereas if I played it more with people who enjoyed playing it, like El Grande, I quite reckon could easily be much higher if we played it more.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
For me, this works well with 3 people. But it does become a slightly different beast at 4 and 5 because you get the prospector, which gives an option.
Bigger boats and all.
Yeah, yeah. But that prospector does give the option of, okay, well, actually,
maybe that's where I think I prefer to play this game at that level, because that's suddenly an action that doesn't feel worthless.
Yeah,
suddenly.
You're
getting money out of it.
Yeah, it's just like, there's no good point. There's nothing good I can do here.
But
I'm kind
I
of
can get
forced
money,
to do
and
this.
maybe I can build a building next turn, kind of thing. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I'd play this with larger groups of people.
Yeah.
Rather than like 3.
No, I mean.
Also, then you're just not feeling quite as like curb stomped because there's more people.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? Not to put.
I mean, it works for me. It works well with 3 people. It becomes a different beast at 4 and 5, which it's equally as enjoyable. It's just that one or at 5, 2 extra cards, 2 extra actions do change.
Yeah.
The game.
Let's twist this now. What's your favourite thing about this game? And I'll say what my least favourite thing is.
My favourite thing about it, I like the
pretty pictures.
The similar thing that you get with Race for the Galaxy, where once an engine does start to work, and you see it growing, you see the board growing, you see all the money coming in, the victory points, that engine growth, and feeling like, yes, I've got it. I like that aspect of it, and I like theming my city. That's what I think I'm doing. That's what I think I'm doing in this. Like, I'm making the corn bit of San Juan, that kind of thing.
Cool. Yeah. For me, my least favourite thing with the game is that it's fixed components. So the same buildings and the same roles and the same player boards will be in play every game. So if we compare it to Race to the Galaxy, we have simply starting with a different world in Race makes each game different. You will not start with the same hand of cards.
Counterpoint.
Affect things in this though as well.
Counterpoint.
So
true.
Race to the Galaxy, you have a set number of cards. Yes, you won't always see them, but it's the same cards that are in the game. No cards are ever taken out, so there's no.
Agreed. No, agreed.
But
because by the nature of it being a card game, it's
the
random,
element of randomness that does come into this is the plantations. The series of the plantations come out it, and the seating order. You're not guaranteed to start first or to start later down. So you're not guaranteed indigo or corn at the start.
Agreed.
You're also not guaranteed to get the plantations that you want. So that does push you in a certain way.
No, it does, and that's why that's why I enjoy the game.
Yeah.
But for me, if you wanted to compare it in terms of like number of starting moves or whatever, this is chess. Race to the Galaxy is Go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a world of difference, and any game that puts in variability immediately, it means I can play it more and I can enjoy it more. Counterpoint, El Grande. There's only 9 regions, so your Grande could only be in 9 different places, but where other people's cards relate to that. But you will not see the same action cards come out every game, except the King. Those stacks are big enough that the 9 that you see will be different. And that, the difference that makes. Not just that what order will the 9 cards come out. No, which 9 cards we see will be different. That is one of my biggest things that make me love a game or push a game down in my estimations. Like, I know the expansion is meant to mix up the buildings that's in this. Oh man, the difference that would make. Like if Machikoro, if Machikoro was just the base set, that is like.
Yeah.
But when you throw in the harbour and things mix up, it gets more interesting. So for me, that's my least favourite thing about the game. My favourite thing would be the boats. I love loading things onto boats. I wish there was a game that was just about putting things on boats.
Hey, Imhotep has things being put on boats.
It does, and I'm really good at that. Yeah. So what about you then? Best. What is the best and the worst?
Well,
Niels.
For me, my favourite part is the selection.
The boats. I love.
You can't
boats.
say the boats. And release everything is.
The boats. No, the selection of actions and the meta game that you develop within that that game that you're playing, because there is a slight like psychological part to it of right. Well, I am just going to bully this person into doing these things.
God, why doesn't Ben like this game? Alec's playing this psychological antagonist. Your father, Ben, never loved you. If you produce sugar,
maybe he will love you.
And just as a counterpoint, we've played this game 15 times.
16.
We've played this game 16 times.
There's 16 scores in here. I did look through to see if we played it.
You played it without me.
Well, I did look through to see if we have played it without you, but I don't think we have.
I'm pretty sure you. Anyway.
So yeah. Anyway.
Okay. But that's a decent.
Yeah. My least favourite thing it would be the fact that there's.
Is it paper money?
No, the buildings are the same throughout. No, yeah, they're the same throughout. There's enough randomness in
Team Euro.
the player order that you get.
I like Euros just when they're. I want a hug from a Euro. I don't want to be beaten.
I don't want a European to hug me. I want him to challenge me.
hug Euro.
I want to be part of the European Union. I want to embrace it. I don't want to look at it from afar with cold hatred.
No one's ever
Hugging Euro,
considered
yeah.
the Puerto Rico part of yeah. Okay then. So when would you play this game with 4 or 5 people?
With 4 or 5 people
Who really wanted to play it?
who really wanted to play it.
Right.
But otherwise, never.
Almost any time.
Yeah.
Although I would. Teaching new people, I don't know that I'd want to teach them when you were playing.
Fair enough.
So, and yeah, unless they were a gamer, in which case it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know which non-gamers I've been like, hey, you want to play my game about Puerto Rican production?
At the moment, I think there are games
Oh, that's true.
At the moment, I think there are games that I would rather play.
You know, we had that problem at
El
the
Grande.
we
Yeah.
had that really big problem at the start of the series where Alec changed his 10. I think maybe in a couple of videos' time we might have a different.
No!
list.
No! If we'd have had our list before I made that list, it would have been.
Alec's mercurial.
I don't know.
A slut.
I'm just easy like Sunday mornings.
You're not usually hard and dangerous.
Like a Tuesday morning.
Like a Tuesday morning.
After
A wet Tuesday morning in November.
So you'd play this most times, but there are games you'd rather play.
At the moment, there are games I'd rather play, but this will always be a game that I will happily play.
Classic.
Yes. Yeah.